Oh my goodness, what a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much, Reverend Richard. And my God, David, what beautiful music. And Reverend Richard, your meditation was heavenly. So I'm very, very honored to be here and just this such a loving community. It has been the greatest blessing to be a part of it. And so when Reverend Richard said yes, that I could talk about proof of the divine, becoming pure of heart, I really started thinking, well, that title itself kind of gives it all away because we can't actually find proof of the divine unless our heart is open, unless we're in a state of pure heartedness, because our cynical mind will always tell us that nothing is real unless you can see it or touch it or feel it. And so the question really comes down to, what does it mean to be pure of heart, first of all? So I recently spoke at a business networking group in Phoenix, and these were some high-powered business people here. And I thought I was speaking about being pure of heart in business. And before the talk, I went around and thought I'd ask some of these high-powered business people to tell me what it meant to them to be pure of heart. Well, listen to some of their answers. They were just beautiful. To be authentic, genuine, transparent, grateful, no agenda, to act and speak with integrity, to trust your intuition, to have the right intention, and to see through the eyes of love. So then I thought, well, I need to also talk or understand what being pure of heart does not mean. So for example, sometimes when you talk to somebody about being pure of heart, they'll say, well, I don't want to be gullible. I don't want to be tricked or naive. And it's valid to say all those things. But the truth is that being pure of heart means that your heart is leading the way. Your mind is following the heart. The mind is still involved, but your heart leads the way, which opens your powerful, sacred intuition. Everybody here has intuition. Everybody here in the world has an intuitive pathway that is gateway to their higher self, their God consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And that is pouring through us all the time. So actually, when we're pure of heart, we are more intuitive than ever. We are better able to discern the truth of a situation. We aren't naive or gullible. We are feeling our way through life, which I believe is a more accurate GPS system than the monkey mind, is our powerful intuitive self. And yet the cynical part of us will say, there's no such thing as intuition. And I'm going to say poo-poo to the woo-woo. I'm sorry for that, but I work with a lot of grieving moms, and they call themselves the woo-woo moms. And we always say, that their friends will say to them, oh, poo-poo to that woo-woo stuff. And so we are taking a stand for the woo-woo. And what does that mean? Well, it means trying to let the heart be our guide. And when we're feeling cynical, if you really follow that to the core of your nature, it's really simply just fear. And it's your beautiful ego trying to do its job of protecting you and helping you survive in this really tough physical world that we're in. And it is tough. And especially lately, it's been tougher than ever. And so the cynical mind feels like, oh, well, then I just better kind of shut down and be very cynical and careful. And meanwhile, your heart is saying, let me guide you. Let me show you what's true and not true in your life. And I believe that Jesus, our powerful, enlightened way shower, told us in the New Testament that we need to be pure of heart. In Matthew 5, he said, "Blessed are the pure of heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the pure of heart, for they see God." Today, I have proof of the divine in my own life. And I'm so happy to share with you that today is my daughter Sarah's 28th birthday. This is a complete miracle in my life. We could even say this is my personal greatest proof of the divine, because I was 43 years old and I was working nonstop as an executive editor at a health magazine and traveling and told by many doctors all through my 30s and 40s that I could never get pregnant. And all of a sudden, one night, I went to sleep. And I've always had very powerful dreams. And in this dream, I flew into a huge, white, open, spacious house. And my spirit flew right up into this one room. And there was a young child standing against the wall. And she called to me, and I flew up right next to her and looked into her beautiful face. I saw her face so vividly. And I said, "Are you going to be my baby?" And she said, "Yes." And I asked her, "Are you a girl?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "What's your name?" And she said, "It's something soft like Sarah." So I woke up and I went, "Oh my God, wow, I haven't had a period for a few weeks." And I went and did a pregnancy test and I was pregnant. The doctor at first was very concerned that it wouldn't be a viable pregnancy, but I knew that I had met my baby girl and that she was a girl and that her name was Sarah. And I saw that she had brown eyes and blonde hair, and nothing could change me from that knowingness all through my pregnancy. And my pregnancy was pretty rough. And I ended up having to go to bed in the last few months of it. But this gorgeous child was born on this day, 28 years ago. And the minute I saw her and her father saw her, blonde hair, brown eyes, gorgeous child, we both went, "Welcome, Sarah." And to me, she was the ultimate proof of the divine. So today I thought it was pretty serendipitous that I'm giving this talk on her miraculous birthday. And so then I was thinking, the question we have to ask here is, should we be seeking proof of the divine, which I think we have all the time in our personal lives, or proof of the physical? We're told, or we think, that if we can see it, touch it, feel it, that it's real. In fact, the quantum physicists tell us, no, everything is energy at its core, not matter, not physical. In fact, one quantum physicist says, if you can see it, touch it, and feel it, it's definitely not real. And as Wayne Dyer said, you have to believe it to see it. Let's say that again. I loved Wayne Dyer, still love him. And he said, you have to believe it to see it. So if it's true that we're always having proof of the divine in our personal lives, but our cynical mind gets in the way, just trying to protect us and tells us to say no to the woo, how do we drop that cynical mind? Well, in my opinion, you're always going to have the cynical mind. You're going to have two stories happening at once in your brain, in your life, and you get to choose which one you're going to give power to, which one you're going to validate. So many of you know this story, but my husband died of cancer when I was 29, and it was 1979, and I had been in a very terrible place with him for a year as he slowly suffered and died, and I took care of him. And he was a young, gorgeous, mountain climbing man and powerful, and we thought indestructible. And then suddenly he was dying from colon cancer. And so I had gotten into such a painful, fear-based, really grieving place with him on the journey. And when he died, I was with him, and I actually saw his spirit lift out of his body in his last breath. And I'm forever grateful for that. And then that night he came to me. I was home in bed, in our bed, and I felt him at 2 a.m. I felt Paul cuddled up against me so clearly, so I could feel him, not just sense him or see him. I could feel him up against my body, just cuddling in bed. And suddenly a being of white reached over me and tapped Paul, and he lifted up and left, his spirit left. And I knew that that was his guide saying, you can't stay here for long, you have to keep moving. And that was just one of many extraordinary experiences I had when Paul died that kept giving me proof that he continued, that there was more to the world than our physical self. Some of you know I also had other experiences. A best girlfriend, Chrissy, died a year later, and she and I had been childhood girlfriends and had giggled and laughed all through Catholic school together. And she would make me laugh so hard kneeling in church. We would try not to laugh in church, and usually there'd be a row of nuns. We were taught by nuns. They'd be sitting behind us. And Chrissy would crack me up so bad in church that I would be shaking and squeaking, trying not to make any noise. So one night after Chrissy, I knew that Chrissy had been sick, but she was in remission, and I thought she was doing well. Chrissy came to me all night in a dream, making me laugh that way that we had laughed as children, to where my stomach muscles were hurting. I was just laughing so much I was crying. I'd wake up and go, wow, I'm with Chrissy. And I'd go back to sleep in the dream, and the dream would continue that I was with her. And in the morning, I woke up and my stomach muscles were actually hurting from laughing. And I started thinking, oh my God, I wonder. And I called Chrissy's mom, and she had crossed in the night. She had died in the night. But my gift from her was she had come to me right away to show me she was okay, and more than okay, that she was making me laugh and that she was feeling great. So I believe we all have these experiences, but our mind makes us question them. And that's okay. That's part of being human. But our mind will always go, oh, you just made that up. Oh, that's a coincidence. And you get to choose, you beautiful souls. You get to decide, am I going to embrace the woo? Am I going to trust the woo-woo? Or am I going to poo-poo to the woo-woo? That is your choice, moment by moment. So when I work with grieving clients, grieving parents in particular, the thing I hear over and over is that when their child crossed, they came to a turning point in their personal life that said, I had to decide if all the signs I was getting from my beautiful departed child were real. And if they were, I had to change the way I viewed life, the way I viewed death, the way I defined religion and spirituality. And I had to get open to the woo-woo, or I was going to have to shut it down and believe that maybe I was crazy, losing my mind. And in fact, many psychologists will tell you, if you're seeing spirits, that you need to be on medication. So what we know in Unity is that when you quiet the mind through meditation and you listen to God, when you stop talking, when you stop the chatter, the most miraculous messages come through to all of us. This is not something that only special people experience. We all do. And we all have these moments of knowing, suddenly waking up in the middle of the night going, oh, now I know what career I need to try, or now I know what relationship I need to begin to get more serious about or less serious about. Our inner self, our knowingness is always giving us that information. So when you want to get in touch with your proof of divinity, please know your first step is always going to be the sacred meditation of the silence, because we're all tasked with our own personal journey of discovery here on earth, to be able to embrace our own intuition, our own inner knowingness, and embrace our pure heart that is our essential nature. But we have to begin by recognizing the role that the cynical mind plays in our life and loosening its grip on our point of view. There is actually no materially testable scientific hypotheses about the existence of God or the existence of anything beyond the physical. It is always a leap of faith, or we could say it's a choice. We choose to believe. Believing in the unseen does require a blind faith, you could say. And if believing in the existence of something can only be done through seeing or touching it, then how do we believe in electricity? How do we believe in light passing through space? Well, in those cases, it comes because we see the result of something, and therefore we decide that it's real. It's the effect of electricity that we see. And so that makes us believe that, well, then there must be electricity. And this is true of life too. If your beliefs are cynical and perhaps negative and your life is unhappy, maybe it's time to try to drop that cynical mind a little bit, open your heart a little more, and see what other kinds of messages you might get. If you've met any of my woo-woo moms, some of them have taken some classes with you all, you know that they are the most beautiful, open-hearted, trusting, loving people on earth, even though they've been through devastating loss. They are so loving because they made that choice that they were going to accept the strange and wonderful signs that they were getting from their departed child and really believe they could have a different kind of relationship with the person they were grieving so deeply. And that has made them able to heal, able to have a productive, loving life. To me, that's the ultimate proof, right? How is your life going? Are you reasonably happy? Are you reasonably loving and having good relationships? Do you have work that means something to you? If it does, it means your heart is open. You have a pure heart. I loved it that today David played the song that, where John Lennon says, "You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one." Research tells us that more than 60 million Americans believe in that they've connected with departed loved ones, seeing, feeling, and hearing things beyond the physical, not letting the cynical mind stop them from believing that. So I think we stand in line with John Lennon when we say we're dreamers. We believe in the impossible. We believe in something beyond the cynical. So I guess I'm asking you today that when you find yourself shutting down a little in your cynicism, just take a breath, close your eyes, do a little meditation, and say, how can I stay open to this idea and explore it just to see if there's some truth in here for me and not shut it down right away? We have to be comfortable living in the mystery. And that is so hard for our logic minds. Our logic minds just want to know everything right away, all the time, and have proof. But this life is a mystery. Remember, Jesus said in Matthew 17:20, "O ye of little faith, for truly I say to you, if you have faith like a grain of mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move." Now, is that a logical, cynical point of view? No, in fact, might even be called a little woo-woo, right? The same is true of the unity principles, which I adore. I mean, if you really want to know why I'm becoming a unity minister, it's because I believe these unity principles that unity is based on are the greatest, most profound truth that any religion or point of view has. And the number one principle is that this is an all good, all God universe run by a loving God consciousness that lives within me and you. Does that sound cynical? Or does that sound a little woo-woo, a little pure-hearted? So I think it sounds a little woo-woo, pure-hearted, and I'm all in for that. I hope you are too. And if you're here, you must be. And whether grief has been your great heartbreak, as it has been mine, that has opened you to these new possibilities, or if it's been some other experience you've had, embrace it, embrace the mystery, reclaim your pure heart. That is your natural essence, and it will serve your relationships. It will serve your business and your career, because it shifts your vibration up to the highest frequency of love. And we know at Unity that that's what attracts all the good stuff to our lives, whether it's prosperity, loving relationships, success, money, whatever it is. It doesn't come when we're in a vibration of fear or cynicism. It comes when we're in our pure-hearted, loving, open selves, living in the mystery, embracing the divine. So today, when you go into the breakout rooms, I'm asking you for a little homework here. I want you in the breakout rooms to share with your group if you've had an experience in your life that you could call being pure of heart or proof of the divine. If you've had a moment of proof for you personally that something lives beyond the physical, share that in your room. You might be surprised how that connects you with other people that you wouldn't even imagine could believe in such a thing, and yet they do. I love that about us. We all have a story. We just need to get to know each other's story. And on that note, thank you so much for being with me and listening today. Many, many blessings. And so it is.